Basically, just bury me with the Kindle, all right? Hello, my name's Michaela. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things books. Over on Book Talk, I have a series called Thriller Book Recommendations that are not by Freida McFadden. And you all seem to love it over there, so I thought, why not bring it to BookTube? So if you've never seen any of my videos before, you might be thinking, okay, but why thriller books not by Freida McFadden? So let's address the elephant in the room, because I am well aware that Freida McFadden is one of the biggest thriller book authors right now. Everyone seems to love her. She even calls her fans Muck fans. And I understand the hype, I really do. Like, so many of my friends love her books. I personally have read a couple of her books, and some of them I have enjoyed. But there has been a bit of controversy over the past couple of years that she allegedly takes heavy inspiration from a lot of popular thriller books that are out there. But on the flip side of that, so many people have actually started reading again for the first time, or for the first time in a long time, thanks to her books. And I think that is down to her books being popcorn thrillers, very, very easy to read books, like shocking plot twists with twists you won't ever see coming because they don't make much sense. So what I want to do today is I just want to recommend you some more thriller books that are all on Kindle Unlimited, that are all your typical popcorn thrillers and are easy to read with really good twists that you may or may not have heard of. That was very political, wasn't it? I'm quite impressed with myself. So without further ado, thank you for being here. Please hit that subscribe button for loads more thriller book recommendations, and let's get into it. There is one thing that you should know about me, and is that I am a Kindle girly. I would say, I think last year 70% of the books I read were all on my Kindle. I'm a Kindle Unlimited stan. I love it. I love thriller books on Kindle Unlimited. There's so many good ones. So just know that I'm coming to you as a fully fledged Kindle girly. And then you might be thinking, what the hell are all these books behind you, Michaela? Listen, book buying and reading books are two separate hobbies. The first book I want to recommend to you is probably the most unhinged book that we're actually going to have on this list, and that is The Last Party by A.R. Torre. This is quite a new release. I think it came out towards the end of last year, and it is honestly the most wild, unhinged thriller book I'm probably going to recommend to you. In this book, we meet a woman called Perla. Perla is obsessed with a serial killer that is currently serving life in prison. Now, he's serving life in prison for killing his daughter and his daughter's friends at her 10th birthday party. So like I said, our main character Perla is absolutely obsessed with everything to do with him. She herself has a 9-year-old daughter that is just about to turn 10 and is going to be having a birthday party. And she plans to recreate this serial killer's crime. She is planning to kill her daughter and her daughter's friends on her 10th birthday. Miss A.R. Torre, we need to have words, because how the hell did you think of this plot? It goes without saying, based on what I just told you, that this is an extremely dark book. So please check your content warnings. Please check content warnings for any book I'm going to talk about. I think if anything specific triggers you, please always check that before going into thriller books, because I would hate to recommend you a book that isn't suitable for you. That being said, we read this for mine and my friends in-person book club, and there's 12 of us in the book club, and I want to say like 10 of us rated it 4 stars or more. So it's one of those books where I was literally just reading it like that was my face throughout the whole book. A.R. Torre is fast becoming one of my favourite authors. I've read quite a few books from her now. I haven't completed her backlist, but I'm really going to try and do that this year. Another one I really like from her is called The Girl in 6E. This isn't on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have read The Last Party and you want another recommendation for A.R. Torre, try The Girl in 6E, because that doesn't get nowhere near as much love as it should. The next thriller book I want to talk about is called Blood Oranges, and the author is J.M. Cannon. J.M. Cannon is actually an indie author, and I love supporting indie authors. In this book, we meet a woman called Emily, and her mum is a mega church pastor. Now, I didn't realise this was such a big thing. Like in America, like mega churches are like the norm. In the UK, we don't really have that. Like the way that the mega church in this book was described, it was like it had like escalators and like a shopping mall inside. So I fell down a bit of a rabbit hole, like Googling if this was a real thing, and I was shook to learn that in America it actually is. So Emily's mum is the pastor of this mega church. It's a bit like a cult, and Emily's younger sister has just gone missing. But like her mum doesn't seem to care. Like she's just using it as like an opportunity to promote like the church, and she's going on television and she's acting weird, and Emily starts to think that her mum and like this cult church may be involved. And something I love in thriller books is cults. Like I absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite tropes. There's also a side plot in this where there is an orange farm, and there's a series of deaths that are happening on this farm that may be connected to Emily's sister going missing. This was the first book I read by J.M. Cannon. Honestly, it blew me away. The twist in this book, my God. I don't think I could ever have foreseen like where the twist went in this book. I was literally like, fuck me. I've read quite a lot of books by this author now, and honestly, all of her books are absolutely incredible. All her books are on Kindle Unlimited, so definitely check them out. And you're also going to be supporting an indie author. If you like your thriller books with a touch of humour, like quite dark humour, if you've read like Listen for the Lie, you'll know what I'm on about. But if you like a thriller book that is quite dark, but can still make you laugh, you should check out Sweet Pea by CJ Skuse. In this book, we meet a girl called Rhiannon, and Rhiannon looks like your typical girl next door. Like, nobody would ever suspect that she is a serial killer. Like, she's constantly making kill lists. Like, when she's on the bus and, like, somebody might have, like, a body odor, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill them. If somebody in her work, like, speaks to her in the wrong way, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill them. Like, she is a fully fledged psychopath. And the tagline for this book is like so good. It's like, the last person that called me Sweet Pea ended up dead. And because like she's just like this innocent girl next door type girl, nobody suspects that she is a serial killer. It's also set in the UK, so I feel like a lot of the humour is quite British. So if you like British humour, maybe you would like this. It is actually part of a series. I don't know if it needed to be a series. You know, sometimes like thriller books, like if they're popular, or any book, they'll make it into a series. I don't know if it actually needs to be a series. I don't know if I will be continuing with the series, but I think there is 4 books in total, and I have heard that they're quite good. This has actually just been turned into a TV series on Sky, and I have watched it, and I don't think it did the book justice. Like they always do with books, they changed a lot of like what happens in the book, like quite dramatically actually. And I don't think I loved it. So if you've seen the series, don't let that put you off reading the book. The Housemaid by Loreth and White, not to be confused with The Housemaids. We meet a woman named Kit, and she is a maid with a snooping problem. She loves nothing more than cleaning like her rich clients' houses and also having a snoop in their personal belongings. And then one day she sees something that she shouldn't have seen. She can't unsee it, and it's putting her at risk, because if the owners find out that she's seen this, God knows what they're going to do to her. We then get a detective's point of view as he is called to this luxury home to investigate what looks to be a crime. There's a lot of blood, something looks to have happened, but there's no body. But the people who own the house, their maid is missing. So is it connected? Is it Kit? This shocked me. Like, I went into this book with like quite little expectations, but I always describe this as like a popcorn thriller with depth. The writing in this book was so easy to read, but the chapters were still quite short, and honestly, you just like turning the pages. I really, really enjoyed this book. This was actually nominated for the Goodreads Choice Awards Mystery and Thriller category in 2023, so it's definitely getting like some recognition. But Loreth and White, I've read a couple of her books again. They're all really good, and they're all on Kindle Unlimited, so bonus. A lot of the books I talk about on Kindle Unlimited as well come with the audio, and I love that, because when you're not reading the book physically, or like you haven't got time to pick up your Kindle, you can just switch to audio, and then it remarks where you are on your Kindle afterwards. And I just think that's so clever. I'm just easily pleased, clearly. I rave about Mark Edwards all the time, and that's because I think he's such an amazing thriller author, and I really don't feel like he gets like the love that he deserves. So I'm constantly forcing him down everyone's throat, and I'm here today to recommend to you The House Guest, which is actually one I don't think I've spoke about very often. We meet Ruth and Adam, who are a British couple, but they are spending their summer in New York house sitting their friend's house. They are staying in one of those like beautiful brownstone houses in New York, and they're just ready to have a really good summer. One night there is a summer storm and the rain comes down. They get a knock on their door, and a woman is standing there saying that she is friends with the homeowners. And then friends said, oh, anytime you're in New York, feel free, come and stay at our house. So she's there to take them up on that offer. Ruth and Adam aren't naive. They're a bit like, oh, that's a bit awkward. But what do? This woman's claiming that she knows the homeowners. She knows things about them. So they're like, yeah, sure, come in. But then she starts acting a bit weird. And does she really know the people that live in their house? I think there's nothing more terrifying than like a home invasion like story. Like, obviously this isn't their house, but like still, this is where they're staying. This is supposed to be a safe place. And like those sort of stories really like just, send shivers up my spine. Mark Edwards is a British author and his books are typically set in the UK, but I really liked how he like branched out and like took us to New York. I felt like I was in New York, Right guys, this book is gonna make you feel rage like you never thought a book could make you experience. The Stranger in Her House by John Mars. My God, this book, I wanted to launch my book across the room so many times. This contains some of the most unlikable characters to like ever exist. The book starts out and we meet Connie and Gwen. Connie is the daughter of Gwen, but Gwen's sadly being diagnosed with dementia. So Connie's moved back in with her to take care of her mum. A charity have put them in touch with a man named Paul who comes around and does things like the gardening, like handyman activities that both of the women can't do. But Paul slowly starts to like integrate himself into Gwen's life. Like you're starting to think like, oh, should he really be doing that? This is one of the twistiest popcorn thrillers I've ever read. John Mars's twists are always fab, but I think the twists in this book are just next level. This is my favourite of his psychological thrillers, like literally my favourite one. So many other people love it, and I don't think like you expect us to see where it's actually going to go. And I really like it when books have like twists the whole way through, rather than just like waiting for that ending and that lead up just to that twist. No, these are like scattered throughout the book. I think I read this book in like 24 hours because I couldn't stop. I also really recommend that you read the author's note of this book, because I was shooketh when I read the author's note to find out that this book is actually based on a law that we do have in the UK. So if you've already read this book, go back and read the author's note. If you haven't, make sure you read the author's note. Do you read author's notes in books? Because I was quite shocked to find out that not a lot of people do, but like I always read the author's note. I don't know why, but I do. Do you? If you told me that Freida McFadden also moonlighted under the pseudonym Daniel Hurst, I would probably believe you, because if you like Freida McFadden, I can guarantee you're gonna like Daniel Hurst's books. The only one I've read is called The Doctor's Wife, and I thought it was really good, so much so that I actually went out and bought myself a trophy copy. It's on I think it's up there, I don't think you could see it. This follows a woman who is married to a doctor. And they have just moved to a brand new area for a fresh start. He is actually cheating on his wife, and he thinks his wife hasn't got a clue, but little does he know, she knows all about it. And basically, she is out for revenge. And if you're in a reading slump, I really, really recommend this book. I think this is the perfect book to get you out of your reading slump. All of these books, to be honest, because they're all really fast-paced, really easy to read, and bingeable thriller books. I really appreciate it when a book has a really unique plot, something I haven't really read before, and that's exactly what happened in The Final Scene by Steph. We meet a woman called Brooke who was kidnapped 10 years ago, and she is being held in this cabin, but the person that's keeping her captive is playing out her childhood, basically. So she's kidnapping these people and making them reenact her whole life. And the book is leading up to the final scene, like the final scene of a play where who knows what's actually going to happen. You got to read it to find out. Now, I did really enjoy this, and like I said, it has got like that unique kind of plot. I've not really read a book that's like done that before. It was like the whole like play aspect, it was a bit like a performance. But there was a bit of a romance in this. And I don't typically like romance, not really in thriller books. So if you don't mind that, then I think you'd really enjoy it. I did still enjoy it. I think the romance side of it could have been like left out, This is one we read for my online book club. I have an online book club. If you want to join, it's in the description. It's completely free to join. And it caused like quite a bit of like a mixed reaction. Some people absolutely loved it and some people really didn't like it. But yeah, I thought it was all right. Lucinda Berry's books are so easy to read. I feel like her books, like do you know when like sentences are just very easy to process? They're not that complex. They're quite like simple sentences. And I feel like Freida McFadden does write like that. But Lucinda Berry's books do have a bit more depth to them because she is actually a clinical psychologist. I think she's a childhood psychologist maybe. So I feel like she really does actually know what she's talking about, but in a really simple, easy to read way. All of Lucinda Berry's books are actually on Kindle Unlimited, so I struggled with which one to include in this video. So I went with When She Returned because that's about cults. A woman called Kate vanished from a car parking lot 11 years ago and she was just never seen again. She left her family, she left her children, she was just gone. Her family think that maybe she has been taken by a cult, but 11 years later she turns back up, like out of the blue with nowhere, with a newborn baby. So if you're a fan of cults, you might like this. Another good one which will make you feel rage is The Perfect Child. That is unhinged. I don't particularly like kids anyway, but the kid in this, Jesus Christ. I can't believe that Alice Feeney His and Hers is on Kindle Unlimited. I love Alice Feeney. One of my previous videos I actually did an Alice Feeney backlist ranking of all her books. I'll link it up above for you. But I was shook up when I seen that this was on Kindle Unlimited. This is Alice Feeney's only police procedural thriller. It's set in a small British town where somebody has just been murdered. So a BBC news presenter has been sent to the area to cover the case. And then we've also got the point of view of a male police detective who's investigating the crime. But he then gets accused of doing the murder. This is actually in the process of being made into a TV series, so I wonder if they'll take it off Kindle Unlimited when the TV series gets released. Because you know how like Amazon Prime and stuff do that, and Netflix, they take it off, like if a film's like having a sequel, they'll take it off Netflix and make you pay for it on Prime. It's so annoying. So I wonder if they'll do that. So go read it quickly while it's still on Kindle Unlimited. This is one of my favourite books from Alice Feeney. I think I ranked it like, go watch the video. The Prediction by Faith Gardner is a thriller, but it's more of like a speculative thriller. So, you know, like those ones where they're set like in the near future. It's one of those types of thrillers, and they are some of my favourite. When I read this, it actually used to be called something else. I think it was called Maxine, Amen Maxine, or something along them lines, but it's had a rebrand. It's been changed to The Prediction. And basically, this is set in a world where everyone has like an Alexa in their house, but this Alexa listens to everything you say and will give you predictions on like what's going to happen in your life. So like you can ask it things like, oh, when do you think I'm going to run out of milk? That kind of thing, and it will predict it based on like things it's learned from listening to you in your house. Well, one day this device, Maxine I think it's called, turns around to her and says, your husband's going to kill you. Like, what do you do? Do you believe this stupid machine? Like, or do you like take precautions in case your husband's about to do you in? This is part of a series, but they can all be read as standalones. This is the only one I've read from that series, but I'm definitely intrigued in reading more because I think they're all set in like this near future world where kind of like The One with John Mars and like The Family Experiment, The Marriage Act, those kind of things. I love them. And the last book I have to recommend to you is The Butterfly Garden by Dr. Hutchinson. This is seriously messed up. We started out with a messed up book, we're going to finish with a messed up book. In this book, we follow a group of girls who are being held by a serial killer, kidnapper in the Butterfly Garden. And I imagined the Butterfly Garden to be like a garden centre. Do you know like where they keep all the plants? So like they're getting like the sun still. It's like a botanical garden. I hope you know what I'm on about. And as soon as he kidnaps them, he tattoos butterfly wings on their back, like literally full-size butterfly wings on their back, and he calls them his butterflies. So obviously he's not a normal guy, is he? And once he's done with these girls, he kills them peacefully, and he encases them in resin and frames them on his walls. So we're following the point of view of a girl who is in this butterfly garden, and obviously she doesn't want to end up like all the other girls that she has to see every day on the walls. So yeah, again, this is a pretty messed up book if I'm honest with you, but it was a really quick popcorn thriller because you just want to find out what happens. It is part of a series. I think there's 3 books. I haven't continued with the series because again, I felt like it didn't need to be a series. Like, unless you're starting a book out and it's supposed to be a series, sometimes I really don't feel like it needs to be. I feel like that about prequels as well. Like, something I've noticed in like books, now I started reading like cozy fantasy, that took a turn, like we're getting prequels, and I'm like, I don't care about a prequel, I want a sequel. And they are all of my thriller books that I really recommend to you that are on Kindle Unlimited. There is actually loads more. So if you want another part to this video, please let me know and I will happily oblige, because like I said, me and my Kindle, till death do us part. Basically just bury me with the Kindle, all right? I hope you like the new background as well. Please let me know what you think of it. I'm literally obsessed. Thank you so much for being here. Please hit that subscribe button and I shall see you next time.